everybody, and welcome to this special on Mercury transiting in Pisces. I'm Amani. I'm a karmic, holistic, astrological life coach, and I like to go in depth in all that I do, and all of my interpretations, especially when it comes to Venus, Mercury, Sun transits and everything really, are based on Vedic astrology, which is based on where the planets or the luminaries, which are the sun and the moon, are any given time in the sky, and all times are in GMT time as well. So yeah, thanks for listening, and yeah. So this allows us to dive into our imagination. This is what this energy wants us to do with our communication. Mercury rules the third house, so our day-to-day travels, how we interact with people we see every day, and also our intellect, how I think. So the dreamy Pisces energy is going to make us more intuitive. That's the aim of this. So Mercury enters Pisces on the 27th of February at 7:13 GMT time. Then it goes retrograde on the 15th of March at 7:46 until the 7th of April, when Mercury goes direct while it's still in Pisces. So as I said, this transit is like giving our minds a pair of psychic goggles. Everything gets a bit blurry, but we can see things if we're open-minded to it, especially if you've got a lot of Neptune energy in your natal chart, so 12th house Pisces energy, lots of planets in Pisces. So positively, it's like our mind is a playground for creativity and intuition. Our brains can get an upgrade to like a 5G connection, and to the universe. So as I said, it increases our imagination. Our creative juices can flow like a mystical waterfall. Our intuition can allow us to pick up on vibes and energies like we never have before. Our sixth sense is on fire. Our gut feelings, it can be like a tsunami of inspiration. Our empathy can get increased. Suddenly we're feeling everyone else's feelings or our own feelings. We can be more in tune to our own inner self. So it's good for shadow work, inner work, and it can be like making us like with some kind of human mood ring. So it's a perfect energy for artistic expression, writing, music, painting, spiritual practices like meditation, divination, work with tarot, tai chi, yoga, all of that, and anything that allows you to connect with your higher self. It's great for heart-to-heart convos, chats with others, and we really can be speaking the language of our souls at this time. It can just be like a personal astrological muse when Mercury is in Pisces. It helps us see the magic in the mundane, the everyday things, and we can just find inspiration in the most unexpected places. And it's basically the universe telling us it's time to let our imagination run free and be open to new solutions to our problems. But on the negative end, because no astrological transit is all rainbows and unicorns, right? So we can get brain fog. Sometimes our thoughts may feel like they're swimming in jelly. We can have difficulty with the details and keeping track of the little things. It can, really mess with our ability to stay focused on our day-to-day routine. We can have like an overactive imagination, and our mind can start spinning stories wilder than the latest Netflix series. Think Black Mirror, or Maniac. We can find ourselves struggling to make decisions because suddenly everything seems possible. We can be like, oh, I want to do this, oh, I want to do that. We can ignore red flags and get lost in daydreams, and we may want to be lied to and fall into delusion as well, So we just have to watch out for signing things at this time and make sure we check the fine print. And if we can't, if you feel like our mind's too cloudy, seek out someone who's not cloudy, or put signing important things off, you know, especially when it comes to money and stuff. We can just feel overwhelmed by all these feelings as well, but remember to try not to stress, do things to you know, help you chill out in healthy ways, because the reason I say healthy ways, because Neptune energy can always make us want to escape into drugs, alcohol and intoxicating things to distract us and numb us from our pain and suffering, or just from day-to-day life, you know. Remember that challenges that come are opportunities for growth in disguise if we're willing to work with the energy and willing to, you know, be open to change. And we can really, you know, do some growth if we're willing here. So this energy is teaching us how to find balance and navigate, you know, walk the fine line between reality and fantasy. So the best use of this energy is to vibe with our inner artist, our creativity, to start that creative project that we've been dreaming about, to experiment with new forms of creative expression, to let our imagination guide us to unexplored areas, territories, new solutions and practices, spiritual practices, exercising practices, living practices. It wants us to dig into our spiritual practices. So as I said, try meditation, yoga to connect with our inner wisdom, explore divination tools like tarot or runes, keep a dream journal to decode messages from our subconscious, practice compassionate communication, you know, listen with our heart, not just our ears. Use our increased empathy to really understand others, express ourselves through poetry, music and art, you know, and balance dreaming with doing. So we have to take that practical action, you know, set gentle reminders to keep us on track with the practical details of the tasks, the things, the projects we're doing. Use visual aids or mind maps to organise our thoughts. This can be really good. Mind maps are really good techniques. Take regular breaks to ground yourself in the physical world if you feel you're getting too lost in intuition. And, you know, Mercury in Pisces, as I said, is like having a direct line to an astrological radio station. It's a chance to tune into frequencies that you might usually miss. So open your mind and trust your intuition and get ready to receive some seriously magical downloads and inspiration and insights from the universe. How this energy works with you depends on how in tune you are with your spirituality and how information comes to you. Some of you will get it through deductive reason, logic, and some of you through gut feelings and dreams and that. So yeah, keep a notebook handy, or you know, your phone, so you can voice note yourself or vlog yourself, you know, because you never know when that inspiration may come, and you may receive a psychic or logical hit information that you may want to remember later. So just try and go with the flow, trust the process, and watch as your world transforms into a canvas of infinite possibilities. And it's time to allow Mercury in Pisces to paint your reality with the colours of your dreams if you're willing to take practical actions. So yeah, that's the practical applications of Mercury in Pisces, right? Now I'm going to deep dive into the practical applications and meanings of it, and then the karma, how it affects our relationships, and just looking at it from all angles. So yeah, so practically it's a perfect time and energy to use for brainstorming, you know, problem shooting and creative projects. Great for heart-to-heart conversations and counselling, spiritual practices, but we have to avoid making major logical decisions if possible, only if you're affected by this energy. Double check all important details and communications. Be cautious of oversharing or blurring personal boundaries. In terms of our finances, it's Our intuitive investment decisions could pay off. We can have an increased ability to visualize financial goals, and it's a good time for creative money-making ventures. So on the negative end, there's a risk of impulsive or unclear financial choices, like overspending because you want to escape, so watch out for that. We can overlook important financial details, and we can just be vulnerable to get rich quick schemes or scams. So that's why we have to check details and make sure you don't rush into anything, especially in the spiritual field, you know, paying thousands for courses and stuff. Make sure you read the blueprint, make sure you really need the course and stuff. You know, a lot of information is available out there for free, and you know, with spiritual practices, you know, it's best to train ourselves to rely on the information that comes from within, because ultimately, you know, spirituality is about finding that one-on-one connection with your higher power and your higher self. So politically, there can be an increase in empathy in political conversations and discourse conversations, and we can just find creative solutions to long-standing issues politically, and there can be a potential for spiritual or compassionate leadership. Negatively, there can be a risk of unclear or deceptive political messaging. There can be difficulty in communicating policies, especially solid ones, new ones, you know, and there can just be idealism by some leaders and stuff, or just in our talks about politics in general with our friends and family, overshadowing practical politics, you know. In terms of the materialistic social collective meanings, there can be a heightened increase in collective empathy and understanding, intensified artistic and creative expression, and increase in people being interested in conversations talking about spiritual, metaphysical topics, you know. But negatively, there's a potential for mass, delusions or conspiracy theories, a lot of people falling into them, difficulty in distinguishing fact from fiction, so telling the difference between what's real and what's not in the media, and just the risk of us all getting overwhelmed by all this information as well. So we just have to watch out for that. So to help us manage this energy, as I said, keep a dream journal. Our subconscious can be extra chatty, right now, and give us lots of information. Engage in creative activities to channel the astrological inspiration. Practice grounding techniques to stay anchored, grounded in reality. Double check important communications to avoid misunderstandings. If you feel like you don't understand what someone says, don't be afraid, because sometimes we don't want to look silly and like we don't know stuff, but don't be afraid to double check and ask them to re-say or explain it in a different way. Trust your gut feeling, but verify the facts when it comes to big decisions. And the mantra with this energy is I open my mind to intuitive wisdom while staying grounded in practical reality. So, whether you're vibing with dreamy inspiration or feeling a bit lost in the fog, remember that Mercury in Pisces is all about opening up our minds, expanding it beyond the ordinary, but beyond our everyday sort of thinking. So vibe with the magic, stay grounded, and get ready to see the world through Pisces coloured glasses. So psychologically, our mind can become a sponge for emotions and just, vibes in the atmosphere, so we can be very in tune. This can make us have increased empathy and understanding of ourselves and others. And we can just feel more imaginative as well. And we can just find ourselves understanding people on a whole new level, as if we can read their minds, and for some of you actually can. It's like our thoughts are wearing comfy pyjamas, soft, cozy and ready to snuggle with any idea that comes our way, and our imagination and creativity can really lead the way, you know, because our brain is like an astrological radio, as I said, picking up all sorts of signals from the universe and our subconscious mind. But negatively, we can have confusion and mental fog. We can find it hard to, you know, take in all this information. It can be overwhelming, right? We can also have difficulty with logical thinking and decision making right now. We can have increased sensitivity to criticism or harsh words, and it can just make our thoughts as slippery as a fish, as we find ourselves spacing out more often or struggling to make simple decisions. It can be like our brain has decided to take a vacation to dreamland and forget to leave a map for us to follow. So just, again, you know, practice self-care. Try and just tap into grounding techniques and chill out and relax as much as you can. In terms of the spiritual meanings, it gives us a deeper connection to the spiritual realm, because we can have more spiritual empathy and compassion as we are more in tune with our psychic abilities and intuition. So, you know, just try and work with this energy, because you can find yourself having some seriously deep spiritual insights. Negatively, there can be a risk of us being confused and spiritually overwhelmed. We can escape life through spiritual practices, so we find that balance between, you know, being spiritual, of course, you know, but also taking care of the everyday routine. Don't forget to pay the bills and stuff like that. We can have difficulty discerning, telling the difference between intuition and imagination and reality. Be careful not to get lost in spiritual space and the spiritual source, you know, as this transit can make it tempting for us to float away in the cloud of astrological energy and forget about the real world. Remember, even enlightened beings need to do their laundry sometimes, you know, so as I said, take care of the practical as well as the ethereal, you know, the spiritual. In terms of the esoteric, the hidden meanings, it allows us to get access to the collective unconsciousness and our ancestral generational family wisdom. It increases our ability to understand and work with symbols. It gives us deeper insights into the interconnectedness of all things. It's like having a direct line to the universe's secret library, and we can find ourselves understanding ancient symbols or having profound realizations about the nature of reality, which can come through conversations, dreams, you know, or just working with the insights your subconscious mind comes for. It gives us like big matrix energy, but instead of dodging bullets, you're catching astrological wisdom. But negatively, we can get lost in esoteric rabbit holes. We can misinterpret spiritual messages. We can have difficulty in grounding esoteric knowledge into practical reality, you know. Just remember, not every synchronicity is a sign from the universe to quit your job and become a professional mermaid, unless it is, you know. Some of you, maybe, you know, that may be your calling, and if that's the case, you know, go for it, and just try to keep one fin, you know, one foot in reality while you explore the astrological ocean. In terms of the symbolic creative meanings, again, as I said, it gives us ability to express our emotions through art, so singing, dancing, painting, designing. We can have an increased appreciation for abstract and surreal forms of expression. We can, you know, there may be a song or a piece of art you didn't understand for years, or a piece of writing or information from your subconscious, and you can just get it now. It's like our inner artist, our inner creative is given magic wand, and we can create masterpieces in our sleep. So this is why we literally need to keep a dream journal right now. Our creativity can know no bounds, no limits, and we can find ourselves expressing ideas in ways that we never thought possible. But negatively, We can have a difficulty in translating abstract ideas into solid, concrete forms, you know. We can have a potential for creative overwhelming, you know, it's feeling overwhelmed or artist block, you know. The song by Just Jack, writer's block came to mind. So yeah, we can have writer's block, creative blocks. We can just have a risk of creating art that's too abstract for others to understand, or even ourselves to understand. So remember, while your mind is painting with all the colours of the wind, you know, others may still be working with crayons, you know. So just try and break down information to yourself and others in small steps, and don't be overwhelmed if you don't fully understand it. Be patient with yourself and others if you don't immediately get it, you know. So yeah. In terms of the emotional meanings, it can increase our emotional intelligence and empathy right now, giving us the ability to express our feelings more poetically and creatively. We can have deeper emotional connections with others. Our heart and mind can really be our besties right now. We can feel all the feels and express them like an astrological poet. It's like our emotions get a degree in communication. They're eloquent, deep and touching everyone around us, but negatively, there can be a risk of emotional overwhelm or mood swings. There can just be a difficulty in setting emotional boundaries, and there can be a potential for absorbing others' emotions like a sponge. So we just have to watch out for that, those emotional tsunamis, feeling flooded with emotions. We can feel empathetic on, you know, really on overdrive right now. So we have to protect our energy and don't be afraid to say no to emotional vampires. And just remember that the whole purpose of this transit is to let our imaginations run wild, trust our intuition and express our deepest feelings. We just have to remember to come up for air occasionally, and remember that the real world misses you too. And so yeah, ride those astrological waves, but keep your astrological surfboard handy for when you need to come back to the shore. And just remember that you've got this, you know. So now I'm just going to talk about the aspects that Mercury is making. So it's going to colour, flavour, affect the energy of Mercury in Pisces for the next 3 weeks. So the first aspect is Mercury making a conjunction to Saturn, and this is separating, so it's not really strong, but it gives us the grounding that we need. Yay! So it allows us to be more structured and organised in our day-to-day routines. We're able to focus on complex, hard to understand tasks for longer periods. Our communication can become more precise and reliable, but negatively we can come across a bit too serious or critical. There can be a risk of overthinking or getting stuck in negative thought patterns. Mercury also makes a sextile to Uranus, and this is separating. Positively, our mind can become more innovative and quick-witted. We're likely to have sudden flashes of insight or aha moments. Our communication can become more exciting and unconventional, but negatively our thoughts may feel a bit scattered or unpredictable. There can be a tendency to, you know, just blurt out, say, spray our ideas without thinking them through. So we just have to try and think them through, you know. Mercury also makes a conjunction to Neptune, and Neptune rules Pisces. This is applying, so this affects us a bit more. So this just allows us to get our imagination and intuition upgraded and be more empathetic and compassionate, which is what this energy is all about. And of course it allows us to express our abstract ideas more easily to others, so that's really good, because that counteracts what I was saying earlier about people finding it hard to understand us. But negatively it adds to the confusion and misunderstandings, and the fact that we may find it hard to focus on our practical day-to-day things. Mercury also makes a conjunction to the moon's north node. This is applying as well. So again, it allows us to be more in tune with our life purpose. We can have important conversations that guide our future. we can learn and share knowledge, and this can become more meaningful to us. We may feel a pressure to say the right thing all the time. There may be a risk of overthinking our words and actions with this energy. Mercury also makes an opposition to the ascendant, and it's applying, so it gives us the ability to be more aware of how our words impact others. It allows us to have those deep, meaningful conversations and see both sides of an argument more clearly, which is really good, so it can reduce the conflict that can come up, right? But we may struggle with being objective in our personal interactions and conversations. We can project our thoughts onto others. We just have to remember, these aspects are like flavours in Mercury's astrological cocktail. Some may be stronger than others, but they're all going to contribute to the unique way that we will think and communicate when Mercury is in Pisces, so we just have to use these energies wisely. Okay, as Mercury goes into Pisces, there's also 2 T-squares and a stellium as well. So we've got the first T-square involving the Sun in Aquarius, Jupiter in the midheaven in Taurus, and the ascendants in Leo. So the Sun in Aquarius allows us, supports us in breaking free and shaking things up in our day-to-day routine and getting outside of our comfort zone. Jupiter in the midheaven in Taurus allows us to set career goals and get a glow up, and it reminds us that slow and steady change wins the race, so we can manifest our dream job, but it may be slow to come into practical reality. And just add a bit of bougie to it, what Taurus energy can be a bit about, the style. The ascendant in Leo is giving us main character energy, so it reminds us to step into the spotlight and own our own story. So this fits energy T-square because Taurus is a fits air sign, Leo is a fits fire sign, and Aquarius is a fits air sign. So we may feel pulled between our need for individuality, which is represented by Aquarius, our desire for stability, which is represented by Taurus, and our need to shine, represented by Leo. So it's all about finding that sweet spot where we can uniquely be ourselves while building something long lasting, So there's a stellium between Mercury, Saturn and the North Node. Saturn's in Aquarius, and we've got Mercury and the North Node in Pisces as well. So it adds to us being able to be comfortable with change and reminds us, even if change feels uncomfortable, to go with it. It wants us and supports us with getting out of our side of our comfort zone, and we may be more in tune with our gut feelings because of the stellium energy. And it reminds us to be unapologetically us. And Saturn in Aquarius in the stellium helps us communicate our deepest desires, and the North Node allows us and supports us with working towards and reaching our highest potential. So now I'm just going to talk about the karmic meanings and lessons of Mercury in Pisces. So our intuition can be our new best friend. It's time to trust our gut feelings and our inner voice as they're speaking louder than ever. So that's what this energy is all about. As I said earlier, we should use our compassion right now over logic. It's all about, tuning into those feelings, not facts, but we have to stay grounded as well. It wants us to learn to lead with our heart, not just our head. Our boundaries can be more fluid, but watch out for energy vampires, as we're extra susceptible to absorbing others' vibes right now. So just make sure you do grounding exercise, meditate, have a nice bath or shower, to separate your energy from others. Ultimately, this energy is teaching us to balance our logical mind with our intuitive intuitive wisdom, and our brains can get like a spiritual upgrade right now. We can find ourselves communicating more artistically, as I said, understanding complex, hard to understand concepts through metaphors and symbols. We can struggle with practical details but excel, do really well in big picture thinking right now. And remember, it's all about finding the sweet spot between dreams and reality. Don't get so lost in the clouds that you forget to tie your shoelaces, you know. So in terms of past life dreams or memories, we may have dreams where we're in the ocean, you know. Don't be surprised if you start dreaming of underwater cities or past lives of sirens, mermaids, mermen, merpeople, water creatures. Pisces energy is all about the water world. We may have dreams and flashbacks into lives as a mystic or healer or spiritual leader, and you know, it's time to embrace and vibe with your inner guru. And this is what, you know, spirituality is all about, is learning to get in touch with your higher self. We may have past life memories of being a poet, musician or painter, or any other form of creative, and we may feel like, oh, you know, I want to try to learn the guitar or piano or anything like that. Again, our dreams can be more vivid and symbolic. We have to pay attention to recurring symbols or themes. Feelings of deja vu may happen in our waking life. There may be sudden pushes to explore new spiritual practices, and there could also be clues to your past lives that are trying to teach you something important in these dreams, so pay attention. It's like our soul is sending us an astrological text message, so remember, don't leave it on unread, you know, read it. In terms of collective karma, we may just have more global empathy, and there can be an intensification in us being humanitarian and wanting to give and help others, and just more compassion for global issues like wars in other nations and stuff like that. It's sort of like the world is getting a big group hug. We can have a more increase in creative expression and appreciation for creativity in general. We can experience more of a spiritual awakening. There can be a collective shift towards spiritual practices and seeking higher meaning in life. And meditation apps right now can crash because we're all just wanting to use them, you know, or any other spiritual apps, but it's not all peace and love, you know. We have to watch out collectively for increased susceptibility to misinformation, you know, being more susceptible to fake news and not believing the truth. There can be collective confusion or uncertainty about the future. There can be a tendency to escape reality through unhealthy means. We should, you know, do our best to be a beacon of clarity, to do everything we can to stay grounded and share our intuitive insights, but make sure we fact check, you know, check those facts, because remember, you know, it's like putting on spiritual goggles right now. We can just be more intuitive, compassionate. It's time to connect with our higher selves and explore our past lives and contribute to the collective healing of the planet, but just don't forget to come up for air for a while, you know, stay grounded. So now I'm just going to talk about how Mercury in Pisces affects our relationships. So in terms of family relationships, it allows us to have deeper connections, heart-to-heart conversations, increased empathy and creative problem solving as a family. But again, it can negatively add to the miscommunications. You know, did mom really say that, or did we imagine it? Our boundaries can blur, so everybody can be all up in everybody's business right now. So the best use of this energy is to use it to heal old family wounds, because it can help us understand where everyone's coming from. So it can help us resolve long-standing family issues. In terms of our friendships. It allows for more psychic connections. We can be finishing each other's sentences. It allows us to work creatively together and have more compassion for each other. But we just need to watch out for oversharing, flakiness, saying, oh yeah, I can, meet up, and then just cancelling that last minute, people forgetting boundaries and plans, as I said. Remember that empathy is a superpower, but don't let, other people's issues drain you right now. In terms of committed couples, it can help us have deeper emotional intimacy. We can increase our intuition, especially about our partner's needs. We can be more romantic and dreamy right now. Negatively, there can be misunderstandings. We can idealize our partner, so we just have to be careful with those rose-coloured glasses, and watch out for sarcasm, because it can be like, are they being sarcastic or are they being serious right now? Use this time to connect on a soul level with others, but don't forget to keep it real. Remember that clear communication is clear right now, even if it feels like you can read each other's mind. In terms of hookup, we can have increased sensuality and chemistry. We can have a deeper intuitive understanding of each other's desires, and we can just have like magical movie moments and hookups, but we just have to watch out for catching unexpected feelings. 1 minute we can be like, oh, I suppose this was meant to be fun, and then next minute I'm deeply in love. And we can also misread other people's signals right now. We may think that, the you up or something else in the text may mean more than what we think. So just remember that it's okay if things get a little bit messy, but just be honest about where you're at, both with yourself and your hookup partners. And remember that, hookups typically mean hookup right, and try not to misread signals. Ask the right questions to not get hurt. For those who are singled and self-partnered, it's a great energy to use to dig deeper into your inner world. It increases our creativity and self-expression. It can make us have intuitive insights about the needs of others and our own desires as well. But we just need to watch out for getting lost in daydreams, idealizing potential partners, and the best use of this energy is to dig deep into self-discovery. Imagine our intuition is our best wingman right now, no matter what our relationship status is. Mercury in Pisces is all about connecting with our heart and intuition, and just vibe with the dreamy vibes, but remember to keep one foot on the ground, and remember clear communication is always in style, even when things get a little foggy, Okay, so now I'm going to talk a bit more in depth how it affects our spiritual, career, educational development. So Mercury in Pisces, in terms of our careers, our creativity can be off the charts, our intuition can become our secret weapon in decision making right now, our empathy levels can be up, so we can become the office therapist, but in a good way. Negatively though, details may slip through the cracks like sand through fingers, because everyone can just be a bit brain foggy right now. Deadlines can become a bit more fluid and we can miss them, and this can cause a bit of problems, and miscommunications can lead to awkward wait what moments, so just watch out for those. Personal development, the best use of this energy is because everything can feel possible right now, but we just have to remember to keep it real. This is really key, because we can just be floaty, especially in our intellect, because that's what Mercury rules, right? The third house, everything third house. So our empathy game can become stronger. In terms of our personal development, self-reflection can become as natural as breathing, so this is really good. So good for shadow and inner work. We can be more open to exploring our emotions and inner world instead of numbing ourselves to them. Negatively, we can get lost in our daydreams, instead of taking action. Overthinking can become our new hobby, but it's not always fun, right? So try and chill out and take time out from thinking, and make sure you look after yourself and do things healthily and to look after your self-care needs. And the blurred boundaries can make us feel drained as well. So remember, it's cool to be in our feelings, but don't forget to come up for air sometimes and, get out of those feelings. It's about finding a balance between not numbing ourselves from them, but, being open and working with them as well. In terms of our spiritual development, it's good for our intuition, as I said. Our meditation can feel like we've unlocked a cheat code right now, so spend time in meditation. We can be more open to exploring different spiritual paths. Negatively though, we can get lost in spiritual bypassing, ignoring that inner and shadow work right now. We can find it hard to tell the difference between intuition and our imagination, and we can just become a bit too woo-woo for some people in our life. So you remember to keep one foot on the ground while exploring the astral plane. The earth signs, Taurus, Virgo and Capricorn will thank us, right? In terms of educational development, it allows us to understand abstract, hard to grasp, intuitive concepts. Suddenly it's good for sociology, psychology, art, subjects like that. We can become a pro at connecting seemingly unrelated ideas and concepts, spotting patterns and stuff. Really good for pattern recognition. We can learn through art, music and storytelling, but negatively we can find it hard to focus on practical, detail orientated subjects. We may find ourselves lost in daydreaming in class or when we're meant to study more than usual. We can find it hard to organise our thoughts for essays or exams. And it can be an interesting process actually, because we can just, float off into dreamland. So it can become, interesting because, the way that we go about it may not be the logical way, but we may get there in the end, but we may struggle with organising them as well. And we just, remember Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge. So vibe with your unique learning style right now. And although you may get lost, find it hard to retain information, you may come up with new ways to remember information. So in terms of self-partner development, it allows us to have more kinder inner conversations. Our inner voice can become more kinder and poetic. We can feel more in tune with our emotional needs, and solitude can feel like a beautiful journey of self-discovery. But negatively, we can idealize past relationships or future partners. But negatively, telling the difference between healthy alone time and isolation can get fuzzy and blurry, and we can become our own enabler for not so great habits right now as well. So just make sure that the habits you're doing right now are healthy, because we can lie to ourselves and be like, yeah, this is the best thing, but it's not, it's detrimental, right? So this is a great energy to write, letters to yourself, give yourself prep talks, and just allow yourself to dig deep into your psyche and subconscious and fall more in love with yourself, So now I'm just going to wrap up with the best things to do. So creatives, it's a great time to experiment with new techniques, dive into surrealist or abstract projects and let your imagination run wild. Work with other people, because the collective creative energy can be off the chart and really good for creations right now. It's a great energy to let your creativity flow without boundaries. Professionals, it's a great energy to help you think outside of the box for problem solving, improving your emotional intelligence in the workplace, tapping into your intuition for decision making. Entrepreneurs, it's a great energy to visualize your long-term business goals, come up with creative marketing strategies, connect with your audience on a more emotional level. Alternative healers should use this to upgrade your intuitive abilities in healing sessions. explore new healing techniques or combine existing ones, in unique ways, and it just allows us to communicate more effectively with clients about spiritual concepts. And lovers use this energy to have deep, soulful conversations that you've been putting off, express your feelings through creative means, maybe write a poem or song for your partner, plan a romantic getaway that feeds your shared spiritual interests. In terms of those who are single and self-partnered, it's a great energy to start journaling, to practice exploring your emotions and dreams, to try out new spiritual practices like tarot or astrology, and to join a group class that aligns with your spiritual interests, So when Mercury's in Pisces, it's about getting clear about what you want, creating a vision board about maybe what you want your ideal life to look like, what you want your ideal partner to look like. It's about getting clear on what you truly want. It's like a spiritual microphone amplifying your intuition and creativity. So whether you're brainstorming your next big project or healing others or digging deep into relationships, this transit is here to help you connect with your higher self in amazing ways. So all in all, Mercury in Pisces is all about increasing our intuition, creativity and empathy, and we can pick up on subtle energies and come up with wild, out of the box ideas and understand others on a soul level. But negatively, it can add to mental fog and difficulty with dealing with the details and overactive imaginations, is it a ghost or is it just the wind type of thing? So just watch out for getting lost in daydreams and miscommunications and falling into illusions and deceptions. As I said, because it's like we're being handed a pair of psychic goggles, but this can be a positive and negative thing. It's the best use to be creative and do that inner and shadow work and work through our problems. Even though we can get lost in daydreams and struggle to remember where we put our keys, we have to remember that this transit is a gift. It's our chance to tap into the astrological ocean of inspiration, heal old wounds and connect with others on a soul level. So things may get a bit foggy and we may need to double check our emails for accidental poetry, but it's all part of the Piscean charm, and the best thing is to try and vibe with the flow and don't be afraid to let our imaginations run wild. So whether you're an artist about to create a masterpiece or a lover ready for soulmate level conversations, or just someone trying to navigate the daily grind with a touch of magic, putting magic into the everyday to keep your work and other routines going, we just have to remember to keep one foot in the ground, check those facts as I said, and just allow ourselves to be open to the new, So yeah, that's the end of this in-depth interpretation of what to do when Mercury is transiting in Pisces. Take care and see you next time.